Hi, welcome to Cymone's Corner, where we talk everything love and dating on reality TV. So today I am talking about Love Island USA Season 7, all of the problems with it, the very few good things that did come out of this season, and just everything going into depth. While I am talking about everything, I will be doing my makeup, so you know, it'll be really just like girls hanging out, just chatting, like when you get ready to go out and how you talking about the latest things. This is exactly what it is. So if you like that kind of vibe, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to Cymone's Corner, where I'm Cymone and we're a family here, so we can talk about everything. But I hope you enjoy this video, and let's go ahead and get started. Hey y'all. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started with my makeup. I'm gonna be looking over here and over here. Here I have my notes, here's my makeup. We're just gonna get right into it. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with all of the Islanders, because let's be very honest, there's a lot of issues with those Islanders. So started off, Ace and Alyssa. Who else? There was Shelly and Austin, Huda and Jeremiah, of course, Alandria and Taylor, and yeah, Alandria, Taylor, Alyssa, Ace, oh, Nick and Bella Dashay, Bella, and then Shelly, Austin, Huda, Jeremiah. So let's be very clear. I believe that a lot of the issues from this season started and kind of ended with Huda. Huda has many problems. I know she went on that Burns on the Office podcast and says she has a therapist. Whatever therapist she has, it's not enough. Okay, let's be very clear. It is not enough. Yeah, so Huda, she got with Jeremiah, and what I've realized from watching this and watching at this point, you know, a few of her, I don't want to say it's like a cycle with even her friends, but she for sure has a cycle with men. And I really wonder if this is how it was with the baby daddy too, because one thing we learned from these black girls, and by black girls I mean it lovingly, they didn't give up the cookie, right? Shelly, Alandria, they was not giving it up. Even Clark was not giving it up just because. You give up the cookie too soon, you're gonna have some issues. And I'm speaking as a married woman. I know you can do what you want, but when you start throwing that cookie in, especially as a manipulation tactic, it's a problem. And I feel like that was a big part of the problem of this show, with especially with Huda, was the dang on manipulation of it all. You're not white. You're not white. You're not white. And I'm not sure that she understands that not only is it part of the reason why people like her fans like her is because she is not black, but also it's a lot of people who just don't like black people who are like, to spite them, we're gonna go ahead and encourage Huda, because Huda was a problem with everybody, including the black men that she was trying to hunch on and the black women in the villa. So let's start with the Huda cycle. She starts by love bombing. Now Huda, I don't know if this was something that she just realized works, or if she was like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and try this. But I'm gonna be honest, I think this is something she's been doing for a while, and I have a sneaking suspicion she was doing this with her baby daddy as well. So the love bombing, she's showing deep interest, and she's, you know, giving a ton of words of affirmation, and oh my gosh, you're so great, I've never experienced this before. And then she starts getting extremely physical. She's trying to kiss up on them. She's trying to get on them, just even physically kiss up on them, hunching, like anything physical she can do. She starts doing that super early, as we witnessed with Jeremiah or even Chris. One of the very first things Huda did with them was go ahead and get up on him, kiss on him, give him all those nice kind of words. Even Jeremiah, she walked away from him talking about, I love you. Oh, sorry, accident. Was it an accident? So you mean you've been telling me you've been locked up in that hotel room and sequestered with all your people, and you was accidentally leaving them, telling them love you? That doesn't sound about right. Anyways, so not only does she begin to do that, she also starts to mark her territory, whether it's with the guys, with the girls. She's living hickeys like on Jeremiah with Chris. She is starting to like make very public statements about, oh, this person is great, da 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 da. Or even when when Hada and Jeremiah went on that date to the water park, and she was like, you know, I'm moving to LA soon, da 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 da. And she was like, you know, I really would like to, you know, live with you. And Jeremiah was like, but how about first you move to LA and we see how that goes, and if that goes well and you actually like it, maybe from there we can consider getting together and like maybe living together. But that's not something I'm willing to just jump right into, especially with you being a mom. Now I will say this, in a regular dating world, I feel like telling people that you have a child maybe should be something you kind of wait on, just because there are a lot of weirdos out there. However, this is not the real world. This is Love Island, baby. They in Fiji on the villa. So I personally believe that it was like maybe not like the smartest thing for her to wait until Jeremiah, especially because it was like a manipulation tactic. She started by the love bombing and getting super close and super physical and giving up the cookie and, you know, doing all kinds of things that are just, before telling him that you have children, doesn't seem right. And especially because it's not like she went and told no one that she had kids. She told Shelly and Alandria and was like, oh, well, it's my business to tell, so, you know, I would appreciate it if you didn't tell, da 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 da. I guess that's normal, except for you got super interested and this guy started doing all these things to show everybody, that's my man, that's my man, that's my man, like Candy. And you're not gonna tell your man that you have a child? Very, very weirdo behavior. But I think it was a part of this cycle. So started by being love bombing ish, and then she transitions into dissatisfaction, right? Because she done already gave up what she thought were her main playing chips. Hey, I got a banging body. Hey, I'm like to be super physical, da 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 da. But then after she's given all of that, she wants something in return, because it's a part of the manipulation. If I give, that means you have to give back. Right? If I give, that means I get to receive next, which is not how the real world works. In reality, that's how I think everybody would like it. Hey, I give, I get, I give, I get. But it is much better to give than to receive. So she starts looking around and she starts getting jealous of other people's relationships, right? When it was with Jeremiah, she started looking around. She started seeing how Ace was planning all these nice dates and X, Y, and Z, and making breakfast and bringing all this stuff to her and just being extremely intentional, right? But she wants that for herself. It's not that she's not necessarily happy with the other people, but she is jealous, right? I think this is where the jealousy starts, and we end with envy by the end of the show. We'll get there. So she does that, then she starts requesting romance by way of comparison, right? So not only is she seeing all this stuff and seeing how the other guys are treating the girls, she starts being like, hey, you know, I want this and you're not doing this for me. I feel like I'm, you know, we were doing good, but I kind of want more. I want more. Look at what Ace is doing. Look at what Austin is doing. Look at what Taylor is doing. Like, really just comparing so that they can see. But these men are not stupid. They see exactly what's going on. There is a choice that's being made to not do that, because you done took the incentive away, right? You're already saying my man. You're already marking that territory. You've given up the cookie. What more do they want? Now, I'm not saying that that's for everybody, but I'm just saying, as a married woman, when I listen to my husband, when I listen to his friends, when I listen to the boys or the men that my husband mentors, this is kind of stuff that comes across, right? Like, when I've gotten what I want, especially in such a dream environment such as the villa, it's very much like, okay, well, what more is there worth getting? I've gotten what I feel like I can receive from this exact situation. So her comparing, she is trying to make them see it in the way that she sees it, but it's just not realistic, like, at all. That is not how that works, which could be fine, I guess. Hold on, sorry, that is my husband calling right now. So it's like, I get where she's coming from, but it doesn't make it right. Especially comparing in a villa type setting. That's when you are having those relationship issues, whether it's in the villa or out, comparison is like the worst thing you can do. It's going to cause a rift, even if it's unintentional, because in your mind you're creating a competition that is not there. So also, she then goes and she starts to take those relationship issues and complains to anyone who is willing to listen. With Jeremiah, she's telling the girls he's not doing that. Well, the girls that are willing to listen, because they started getting smart. So she's going to Hannah, he's doing this, and da 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 da. For Chris, going to Amaya, oh my gosh, Amaya, he's doing this, and I just want this, and I da 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 da. But she doesn't go to people who are going to give her the real. She's going to give her people who are going to just try to calm her down, right? Because they want peace in the house, which then leads to the next part of the cycle, the crash out. I'm going to tell you right now, being a crash out is not cute. Being a crash out is not cute. There are actual problems with being a crash out. So what she does is she starts calling these guys out of their name. I don't care who you are. I don't know a man who is perfectly fine with being called a B or any other cuss words, a P. I'm from Florida. You know, we say pussy hoe. She's not doing that because she's not from Florida. But it's that same kind of sentiment right there. In Florida, when you call somebody a pussy hoe, you don't do it lovingly, right? You may talk to your friend and call somebody else a pussy hoe, but it is not a term of endearment. It's about to get cracking. Like, we are about to go there if this person keeps what I view as antagonizing me, when these men are not antagonizing her, right? When everything happened with Jeremiah and Iris, he did not choose to leave out. America did. We was sick and tired of seeing this relationship that is just not working. It was never going to work. Let's be very clear about that. Jeremiah is young. He is not married. He ain't got no kids. So to step into her world, especially outside of the villa, it would have been difficult, which is why he was telling her kind of up front, hey, let's see how this goes with you and I before I just move in, because she does have a child. And I'm not going to say he's wrong for that. I'm just going to say that that was his truth, and I don't blame him for that, because he is young. Now, if this man was older and X, Y, and Z, I mean, if that's what he wants, that's what he wants. And also, I'm not going to say necessarily Jeremiah was 100% absolutely correct. Not really. However, it also doesn't mean that she was right for what she was doing. So, the crash out, she starts calling him outside of his name. The one thing that is confusing to me is I don't know if in her mind she thinks that this is a way to get them to do what she's wanting to do, right? Because even if that's not the case, why would be calling these men out of their names give you what they want? No, you're trying to publicly embarrass them. What it seems to me is that it's very much a hurt people. You hurt me, so I'm going to try and hurt you in a way that's going to affect you. Now, I used to do that. I was a little toxic. I found Jesus and I found therapy. You can't do that, right? You cannot hurt other people just to feel what you are feeling. It's not right. It is a way of manipulation, and it's always going to end badly. So after she does that, she causes a public disturbance, not just with calling them out of their names or making a public spectacle, but she starts making other people extremely uncomfortable as well. And she knows what she is doing, right? There is no reason why the other islanders thought we need to either be around her when she talks to Iris, or we need to X, Y, and Z so that she doesn't fight her. That's a problem. The villa experience lasted, what, 8 weeks? 2 months in total? Maybe 8 weeks? Or I'm sorry, not 8 weeks, maybe 10 weeks. And I don't even think it lasted that long. I think it was really like 6 weeks, 7 weeks. Why are you doing all this over a man that you just met? Excuse me. This is not your boyfriend, not your fiance, not your husband, none of that. A man you just met. I don't care how quickly villa time flies. There is no reason that should be happening. especially to the point where people feel like they can't talk. They feel like, oh, maybe if I make those little moves, she won't know I'm here, because I don't want her ire to come to me. And even though I don't believe she would have crashed out in the same way as making a public spectacle, it definitely makes everybody uncomfortable. And I think that is something she is absolutely used to. So not only does she do that, but the cycle starts over the same whenever there's a new guy. I will say, of all the guys that have experienced this that we saw while in the villa, JD was the smartest. Now, I don't know why Mr. I'm Puerto Rican, but actually I'm from Haiti. I'm Dominican, actually I'm from Haiti. I don't know why he chose Huda to begin with, especially because they come in with the foreknowledge of what's going on. But regardless of any of that, he said, you like to be dominant. You like to be dominant.
I can tell you like being dominant.
Huh?
You
No,
like
I
being
think I had to
dominant.
lead your ass to help you.
No. You like being dominant.
He did not lie, but he got out of there, right? He got to that dissatisfaction stage and was like, you know what? I'm leaving before the crash out, which kudos to him. Kudos to him, because everyone else that we saw, all the other guys, they was not with it. And I think she was a big problem, because not only did she set the standard for the season with how she was doing Jeremiah and talking about these bombshells and stuff, it made everybody else feel like, well, we have to do it differently. I know we've watched the show and we were kind of like, why are they sending home people with connections? Like, this does not make sense. But now that everybody is out of the villa and we're getting these like interviews and stuff, I'm starting to understand why. In some of these interviews, they're saying, hey, Jeremiah and Huda were like this, right? Like, no one can get to know either of them, X, Y, and Z. That's kind of why we sent Jeremiah home. And in the mind, it seems like, okay, that's not smart. But they sent Jeremiah home when he was doing something similar to Andrina, right? They asked her, hey, do you feel like he's being smothering? Like, he is around you all the time? She was like, yeah, but it's not like I don't like it. That is what we saw on the show. What we're learning after the show is not only was he being super clingy to her, he was not letting other people go and actually get to know them, right? Which it seems that's what Huda and Jeremiah were doing as well. So with them being like, not only are we locked in, but we're not even gonna give other people the opportunity to go ahead and get to know other people, it threw off the whole dynamic of the entire show. So that is why I call it the Huda problem, because Huda messed this season up. I've been watching live since season 3, but I did go back and watch season 2. It wasn't like this. And I blame Huda for this, right? Because what Jeremiah was doing, was it wrong? Yeah, but guess what? They voted him out. Huda took it to a dangerous level. And by dangerous, I mean emotionally dangerous, right? It's one thing to be physical, but it's another thing to where you feel like you cannot move in that villa without there being some kind of spectacle. So we'll leave it for that. And I know I kind of just stopped doing makeup, but I'm gonna get back into it. So the other problem with the Islanders, which she was kind of not a problem, but I feel like a lot of problems around this entire season but she played a major role in some of the issues, and that is the People's Princess Amaya. Let's be very honest. Amaya Papaya, we love her, right? She is funny. Her sayings are a little kooky, and they are very interesting, but she was a fun character to watch. Let's be honest. She had so many quotable quotes. I'm not gonna have a sugar rush anymore from the word candy that you're feeding me. Like, some of the stuff is just like, where did she get this from? I got 10 toes. I'm standing on business. Like, all right, Maya. She is funny. And like, because she is such a character, like that is her, but everything in her gives like cartoon energy, right? Like, she's given us so many gifs, so many videos, so many quotes, but also, let's be very real, a lot of it stemmed from the disrespect she was getting. Now, I feel like a part of the reason why we saw what we saw is because of the producers, and we're gonna get into them in just a minute. But there was, from what we saw, what was portrayed on the show, there was a lot of disrespected issues with Ace. He picked her over Shelly. came to her, set some boundaries, but then it just quickly spiraled, and it just seemed like it was a lot of issues out of nothing. So that was very interesting to watch, because I felt like, I don't know if it was the edit or X, Y, and Z, because whether or not that happened, I feel like we still would have loved Amaya. Then she had the issues with Austin going around and saying, oh, she's too clingy, she's too this, she's too that. But had you not coupled up with her, you probably would have went home. Okay, let's talk about it. Then Zach used that standing on business challenge to go ahead and air out his grievances against her rather than being direct towards her. There was a lot of disrespect, and I feel like that did aid into the reason why America kind of fell in love with her, because let's be honest, she won because of her. Her and Brian didn't win, okay? Even though they were the winner couple, people voted for her because Amaya is Amaya, right? Like, let's be very honest. Amaya had a lot of things going on that just, it was fun to watch, also kind of a little sad, but it made a lot of sense as to why she won, right? I can't say it enough. Amaya won that thing by herself. And I feel like with the way the guys were portrayed to have been treating her, which Ace, we heard later on that they had settled their differences, they had conversations, they kind of buried the hatchet. He apologized, Amaya apologized, X, Y, and Z. So it showed that we have seen, there were things that we did not see that clearly was being handled. Now Austin and Zach, I don't know, because I feel like they were some very nice words, not nice words rather. And we're gonna be talking about Austin and that maggot a little bit later. Zach, what do they call him, piano keys? Look, he won Big Brother UK. He came in there to play a game, and guess what? This is not the type of place where you go to play a game and you think it's gonna be sweet. He got out that villa and he was popping it, and he learned real quickly it wasn't sweet. Let's be very clear. I feel like had the show been at the popularity it was the year before, where it was a lot of popularity but not like the sensation it has turned into, where TMZ is freaking following these people out of the villa, what really happened is them dang on stands. However, with the stands, I feel like they went based off of, some of them went based off of what we could see. And let's go ahead and just get into it. The racism, the misogynoir, and these stand-ups, because a lot of these stand-ups, it is because of that. So before we even got into the show, we're gonna get into the girls, but let's start with the guys. Austin, he was the main cast member. As soon as he came on, right, as soon as the cast was released, they went to that man's TikTok, and it was disgusting. The stuff that was found on Austin's TikTok is a problem. I do not care if he got out that villa and said he got a black woman tattooed on him. That does not absolve from clearly his views. Those TikTok reposts were, I'm not going to say scary, but they were extremely problematic, right? It's one thing to be MAGA, which that's weird, that's gross, that's showing that racism, but there was just a lot of blatant racism that was on his dang on page, and it was extremely problematic to witness. Like, sir, what is wrong with you? Why are you reposting this stuff talking about, yeah, this is full of black people? I saw one post and there were plenty, like his TikTok reposts were filled with it. His family, whoever was his social media handler, could not get to those reposts enough because it was so many of them. One that I did see was like, yeah, you see this city, I think it was like St. Louis. Oh, it is this percent of black people, and guess what? It is exactly what you think. It is full of this much violence and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, you talking about the violence in this predominantly black city? Are we just ignoring the fact that you're a maggot and everything that happened January 6th? That's weird, okay? Making posts about black fatigue, but the person he coupled up with was freaking Shelly. Talk about he was besties, he loves Alondria. But you got posts talking about black fatigue, you got a black woman tattooed on you, and you hold these views? That is weird. However, anybody who did him wrong, it gave those stands a reason to be like, well, look at this, look at that, da 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 da. Weird. After Austin, the next person that had a just very public, interesting to say the least social media presence was freaking Charlie. Sir, you are not even from the US of A. Why the hell are you following the Trumps? You're not even from here. Why are you following American political figures? And political figures that are problematic to say the least, right? That spew racism and hatred and bigotry and all of the things. And I am saying this as a proud Christian woman, okay? I say what I say because I truly believe this. But just because the Bible says something, is it absolutely true? The word is the truth and the light. It also doesn't mean that you can sit here and be so hateful. That's actually the antithesis of what being a Christian is. So why are you being so hateful, even if it's not just blatant like that, by saying, hey, I follow and support this political figure's beliefs? It just shows who you are, right? And then freaking TJ. Now, I'm from Tampa. I reside in the Dallas Metroplex kind of area right now, but I'm from Florida through and through, right? I am here right now. I don't know if it's temporary, permanent. My husband, sometimes he has to go and be different places for work. Right now we're in Dallas, but I'm from Florida. I'm from Tampa at that, exactly where TJ currently resides, where he went to UT, played on the baseball team, blah, 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 blah. So I understand his type, okay? I went to private schools in Tampa. Like, I've met plenty of TJs. Now, at that time, we didn't necessarily see that he publicly followed the that rotten family. But what we did see was he followed them demonic Tate brothers. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know which is worse. I think they're kind of even, same playing field, in my opinion. To me, problematic, very problematic. Those boys have so many issues. Not only do they have legal issues in the freaking States, they got issues in the UK, they got issues in their home country of like Romania. And you follow and support them? In case you're curious to know what those brothers' viewpoints are, why it is so problematic, D'Angelo Wallace, I don't know if he deleted the video, if it's still there, but I know it is on YouTube. He did a deep dive talking about why that man is problematic, right? Some of the stuff, funny, haha, like, oh, you can't be serious. But the deeper you go into those videos, it's like, oh, he's very serious. Like, I will say this. I don't necessarily believe that because of who somebody follows, they should have been removed from the island. But Austin's reposts were so nasty and so dark. I don't understand why he was not removed, but people like Elissa were. People like Sierra were. I get it, but I don't, and we're gonna get on those producers in a minute. All right, so because we came into the season with problematic people such as the KKK brothers, the Triple Ks, it let the fandoms get crazy. It let these huge publications, which they should for sure know better, it let them get crazy. It really just turned into something that it absolutely should not have been. So one of the big issues while Shelly was on the island, we know her and Hutta had that little scuffle, which Hutta threw them non-white tears out, went to other people lying. She says she doesn't want to talk to me. No, she said she is not in a place to talk to you right now because not only will she hurt your feelings, she would say something that she might regret. Big, bold, mature, womanly. Snaps to her for that because that was smart. So what does BuzzFeed go and do? Hey, if we had to get the girls breakfast or make them breakfast, this is what we would give them. First of all, they put, oh, we would get goldfish snacks in case Ace gets fussy. Whether you think he is short or not, that is a grown man. That's a problem. Apparently, they didn't think it was a problem because even when they edited and redid the post, they still left that one there. very weird behavior, okay, whatever. But what was insanely just above and beyond offensive was in that post, they put a freaking knuckle sandwich, literally like burger buns or like buns with a white fist in between. Talking about a knuckle sandwich. Why? Why? What did Shelly do for you to incite violence against this woman other than be black, confident, and beautiful? Answer very quickly, BuzzFeed. What did Shelly do? What did she do to deserve that? I'm waiting. Still waiting. Alright, sorry, I had to give a moment of silence for BuzzFeed's comments because deservedly they got ate up. Oh, well, we didn't understand or we didn't realize that it would be that big of an issue. Da, 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 da. There was not one thing that Shelly did to deserve that. I feel like even arguably Hutta, there was not one reason that any of the women on those islands deserved to have a post like that by a major company that has millions of followers to incite something as harmful and as ridiculous as violence, especially towards a woman. Problematic. And Shelly didn't even do anything, right? Other than be black. Hutta did 20 times that. And nothing. Absolutely nothing. Crickets even. But Shelly, hey, you cross boundaries, you push this girl stuff, which, let's be honest, she did. Well, I know my man's attractive, I know they're gonna go for it. Jeremiah picked Alandria to kiss. Her face is ridiculous. Amaya, Iris came in, she giving middle fingers. Oh, that B is messy. She's not a girl's girl. Iris saying all kinds of crazy things when she didn't even choose to be coupled up with him. Crazy. But Shelly is the one that deserves violence. Insane. And then, speaking of Hutta, like I said, coming into the season, we had already seen some questionable at nicest posts from some of these islanders, the men, and others we'll get to, that kind of set the tone that this would be a racial season, which we are in this current administration. So I have experienced this in the past. I don't know if other people have, but to me it's just very clear that when we're in administrations like this, people get extra bold. So guess what? It gave the green light for these fans to go ahead and do it. In Hutta, they are not necessarily all fans of her, but they are anti-fans, right? Hey, the friend of my, or the enemy of my enemy is a friend to me. That's exactly what her following is like. They are children who are raised on this internet full of red pill hate, and they just think there's nothing wrong with it. Why was there at one point a picture of George Floyd and that officer, Derek Chauvin, isn't that his name? Because let's not forget him, right? We're gonna say George Floyd's name, but we're also gonna call out that demonic, hateful officer who was absolutely in the wrong in that situation. It's a picture of Hutta over Derek's face, kneeing Olandria over George Floyd's face. Her fans, psycho, insane, crazy. I remember one time I was on a live of Nick and Olandria. They sitting there talking about some Hutta. Let's also not forget who hacked Olandria's TikTok account. Hutta's fans. There is a Twitter user right now. The name is Hutta Mustafa, like it's Hutta, sitting here talking about how they don't like black women and how she's better than, and da. And they're literally pretending to be her. And let's be real. Like I said, do some of her fans like her for her? Yeah, they do. but a lot of them are just very anti. They are racist themselves, and the one person who was going against them, because the white women aren't. Hannah may have kikied. Iris has been standing 10 toes down behind them, his girls. But for the most part, the white women are not really coming for the black girls like that. But who is? Huda. And because they believe she is white adjacent, or she's closer to white than they are, they're gonna go ahead and say whatever. Also, I know my brows look crazy. I will fix them once I get the pattern stuff on. This is just kind of like the initial part. I know they look crazy. It's fine, it's fine. So her fans crazy, insane. And then when Shelly and Alandria and Ace come out the villa, Shelly and Alandria, they got it right. They was smart as hell. You know what they did? They age restricted their Instagram post. Why? Because most of Huda's fans are children. You know, oh, they might want to comment, they might want to say that racist stuff, but guess what?
Stupid, I'm not gonna let you get the chance.
You're not gonna get the chance to do it. Deservedly, they should have absolutely zero chance of getting access to those girls. Not on their own pages. Not on their own pages. Like I said, I was on that TikTok live with Nick and Alandria. Her fans in there calling her a monkey. What? Calling her ugly. You're jealous of Huda. The woman that doesn't even look like herself. You look at me from high school, you look at me today. My face has matured, but I look the exact same. I look the same from freaking 5th grade. I look the same from being even younger than that. I saw pictures of Huda from high school. I didn't even realize it was her. She's got so much freaking work done. Huda didn't even want to look like herself. But you're saying the black girls wanted to be like her? Wanted to look like her? They're jealous of her? Jealous of what? Let's be honest. Huda had more men in that villa than Alandria did. Right? She had, actually, it might have been even. That's the real gag. They had the same amount of men probably getting after them in that villa. And who left with a man? Alandria and Shelly, the black women. Oh, okay. Man on their arm, no man on her arm, and her fans are insanely just racist. Like, that's really what it is. They're racist. They're full of misogynoir. It's sick, it's sad, it's weird. But guess what? Love Island gave them the go-ahead to do that. Alright, and what's next on all of the racism that happened during this season? We can't forget about the Slur Sisters. How can we forget about the Slur Sisters? I did it. Let's talk about Yulissa. Came out, again, pre even the show coming out. We got the first look to look at the cast. We saw that cast. Them people went to get to work. They went to work. Them fans said, oh, we're going to figure out who these people are beforehand. All right? You're going to give us some names. We got it from there. We got it from there, boss. They found Yulissa, found out she is a maggot doll. A maggot herself. Extremely problematic because you are not white. You're a Cuban from Miami. I will vote for Donald Trump. They is deporting y'all left and right now in Miami. Actually, I don't know if y'all saw this, but in Miami, a lot of those Congress people, I'm not going to say Congress people, but a lot of people that are on the board in Miami just voted to go ahead and make the police officers in Miami also certified ICE agents. So not only can they arrest you, they can work as an ICE agent and deport you as well. So ma'am, you are a Cuban from Miami and you want to be a maggot. Weird. And that wasn't even the worst part. Why the hell did they find a video of this girl on a podcast saying nigga 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 3 times in 6 seconds? Oh! Producers, casting, I'm about to get on y'all. 6 seconds 3 times, ma'am. Is it those black men that you maybe date that thought you would be good? Because let's not forget, she coupled up with Ace. Ace was like, hey, he was cool with her, right? Like, obviously he had no idea of who she is, what she does, X, Y, and Z. One thing interesting. But because she stole him from Shelly that very first night. Guess what? I don't even remember. I just remember watching the show and being like, oh, she's gone. I didn't even realize that she had been removed from the villa until I was like, oh, where is she?
Christina.
Christina! Christina's gone.
Christina's gone. See, yeah, she was gone. They packed that girl on up. What was she there to begin with? But okay. And also, she was removed for the consequences of her own actions. She can't blame nobody else but herself. It was nobody's fault but hers. Then the other one, Miss Sierra, as they're calling her, made a post. Yeah, I survived a villain edit. A villain edit? Ma'am, if anything, you was getting the winner's edit at one point. A villain edit? You were removed for saying Asian slurs. Not once, but they caught you twice on your social media using it. And what's even more egregious, because saying the word is egregious. Like, I am not of the Asian community, so I cannot say whether or not to accept the apology. But I can't say whether or not to accept the apology because it's not my apology to accept. But what made it worse is the context in which it was used in. You mean to tell me you went to a cosmetologist's office or a Botox office, whatever, and posted that you wanted to get rid of those slur eyes? That's like somebody going into a plastic surgeon's office and being like, yeah, I'm trying to get rid of this in your nose. And you're not black. Egregious, terrible, should have been removed. Now, she said that in the post, that she, like, her apology after, that actually didn't happen that way, and she took the criticism and she removed it and da-da-da-da-da. If she says so, I mean, I guess we have to go off of her word, right? You was removed because of your own actions, because something you have done in the past. And guess what? They don't care if it was 10 years ago, 2 years ago, or 20 years ago. If you said it online, they can find it. The internet is forever. Now, y'all use them slurs against those communities that were not your own, even though you're from disenfranchised communities your own self. Ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun, okay? Ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. Them other communities came for y'all head, y'all was removed swiftly. 1 second, Sierra there, next second, she's gone. Now don't blame that day on TV, but blame your own internalized issues, your internalized racism. Because especially as a POC, which black and POC, very different, as we've learned. If we didn't learn anything from this show, we learned that black and POC, very different. But what I can say extremely confidently is, y'all are POC yourselves and y'all were removed. Those white men, Austin, was not removed. And his posts were just as disgusting. Just as disgusting. But guess what? You're not white and you're not a man. You did it to yourselves. You did it to yourselves. Alright? Now, of all of the issues on this island, I think there was one super major issue. And I said it stemmed, like the show, the issue with the islanders and stemmed, I'm sorry, from one person. And I do still believe that. However, production, I'm on your head. Because we wouldn't have any of these issues if it was not for them. Production said, oh, we're gonna make a show. Last season, great. Part of the thing that made last season great was the Islanders kind of did what they wanted, right? Were they perfect? Absolutely not. But they were people who had their own minds. Love Island was cool. It wasn't the biggest show. It was nowhere near where it was now when they started season 6 last year. It was, like I said, it was cool. I've been watching. I was gonna watch regardless. And then it just exploded, which the only difference I would say is the amount of love shown to the black women was greater, right? We love seeing the Cordell and Serena, and let's be honest, that is where it really blew up. Not only because the recoupling after Costa and all that drama was just fun to watch X, Y, and Z, but also Cordell is celebrity adjacent. His brother is Odell Beckham. He's pushing the show because his brother is on it. Like, it got even bigger than it was, especially with him being involved in all that stuff with Daya, whatever, and Serena and Cordell and all that. And then we saw Janae having to deal with microaggressions from Connor. I ain't forget about you. I didn't know that she doesn't like me. Look at how you talked about her. Unwarranted. And you want to be friends with her? Crazy. You want to be friends with her man after you talked about her like that? After you were microaggressive towards her? Insane. Insane in the men brain. I don't know what's going on in their brain. Weird. But this season, production? What's wrong with you? It was when drama meets fan service, right? The show spun out of control, which is understandable, but let's be honest, we fell in love with the show because of the format. The women only picked like twice this season. What? Love Island is notorious for this time guys, that time girls, this time guys, that time girls. Ain't never been how they done it this year. They could have left things as they were, the same format. Also, why the hell are the fans finding this stuff out about the people to the point where you're having to remove them in the dead of the night? Y'all didn't look up people on your show? Because how can the fans find this stuff and y'all didn't? Did y'all care? I think that's the real question. Did y'all care? But also, how can you represent the USA when the representation is not even in the room? Look at this picture of the producers. This picture was posted, I don't know if it was by them, like actual Leviathan, I believe it was, after the season finished airing and everybody was off of Fuji. They posted this picture. We playing Where's Waldo in this bit. Where is Waldo? Where are the people of color? Where are the women of color? We know there's 24 hours in a day. Obviously, the show is only an hour, give or take. But y'all didn't think that it could have been at least a little better, a little bit more true. Like I said in the beginning, a lot of the issues stem from Huda. I don't necessarily 100% blame Huda herself for it, but I blame those dang on producers and production, because there is no reason why she got the edit she did to where we've had Islanders like Andrina coming in talk about some, oh yeah, she was slamming doors and drawers and stuff for 30 minutes. You mad because they calling you pussy? They didn't even know it was you. They didn't even know it was you, Miss Girl. They just said it was pussy because it was, right? You wanted to stand on business and give out your name when it was with Shelly, but when they had to deal with Pepe, the guy you was trying to go for, but he has a type and you are definitely not his type. Look, society wouldn't even be his type. You're crazy. You're baddie. Sorry, crazy is probably strong. But there's some screws loose. Personality-wise, you wouldn't even be his type. But you didn't say that. But guess what? They showed us like 2 seconds of you slamming the drawer. She said he went on for 30 minutes. They said that crash out with Jeremiah after they got back from the date. They said it was even worse than what we saw. And as a fans, we noticed the next day her knuckles was like red. Man, what was you doing? Why are your knuckles red? Were you being violent? And if so, even with what she was doing, production, you didn't think to step in, not just put her on the chopping block and let the Islanders decide. You are production. You should have been doing that from the beginning. You should have been making those choices. You should not have left that up to them Islanders. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Even the girls themselves were Irish was like, oh yeah, she treated us much worse than what I'm assuming you guys saw. Like, she was actually like really bad. Not just behind our faces, X, Y, and Z, just very blatantly anti-bombshell X, Y, and Z. And that's a problem. That's a very, very weird. Very weird, very strange, very unbecoming, very unwomanly. But production, you had the power to stop this. Why'd you cast her to begin with? Of all the people that was women, right? Because I don't know about the men, but I know the women have been knocking down the door ever since last season. So y'all chose Huda? Huda? And she passed the psyche eval? All 150 plus questions? I don't know how she did that. But the question is, the real question rather, is did she pass? Did she? Did she? Anyway, even outside of all of that, like I said, the edit, absolutely terrible. Right? Even with Ace, we saw with Ace that they made it seem like, oh, he's the big shot, he's running everything. Every other Islander except for Chris has been like, and Austin, which I'm about to tell you why, they'd be like, no, he wasn't. He was cool, he was chill. I mean, we all made our own decisions, but he was just very vocal about his, and we agreed. And we have even seen on the show, when Nick didn't agree, he was very open with, I don't agree, I feel X, blah, blah, blah way. He was not the dang on ringleader. Believe, personal opinion, I believe part of the reason why he's going and saying that Ace was the ringleader was just because he mad. Are you jealous? I mean, Shelly is saying that she did, you know, she was attracted to you. Are you jealous that Ace applied pressure? She got her at the end of the day? Same with Chris. What do Austin and Chris have in common? They both like Shelly and they're both coming out of the villa saying Ace was the ringleader. Was he the ringleader or was he really just applying pressure? Let me know something. I mean, I'm just asking. Just asking. For no particular reason. Just asking. Anyway. But even beyond that, like I said, we saw that the edit was certain ways. Even the Islanders coming out saying that, no, he really, you know, Huda did kind of sit on his face. I'm sorry, what? And like I said, I know, I'm like, oh, you crashing out over a man that, you know, who you only know for a few weeks. Even outside of that, you see how close we are. You see that we're basically in a relationship, right? Like, it's not closed off, but they met each other outside the villa, they're vibing, they have become super, super close, even in the villa. But you're gonna sit on this man's face. The music stopped. The music stopped, and she's still going. They didn't want to show us that part. They did not want to show us that part. They cut it. All we saw was her getting up, but guess what? She came up, butt to the face of Ace. Okay, though. But this is where I said that, for me, it felt like production wanted to meet the fan service of it all, right? They had narratives that they were pushing, but I believe that the show just grew so big so quickly that they were like, maybe we need to keep this base, which absolutely not. Y'all should have got rid of that base, because look at the weirdos that you're inviting into this camp. Look at the backlash that you're getting. You're giving green lights to big production, to big powerhouse companies such as BuzzFeed to just be openly racist towards your Islanders while they're still in the villa. And then when these Islanders are getting ready to leave, you're like, yeah, just so you know, there is a lot of hate, but there's also a lot of love. There is some racism. Now, when it was Vanna, when it was Jeremiah, oh, they were quickly, don't believe the Islanders, leave the cast and crew alone, da, 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 da. When it was the black people, there was no issue. And that's again why I look at this production room. Now, were there some black people? A few, a couple. And they're men. How can they know what the plight of a black woman's experience is if you're not a black woman? And I have no black women in the room. And one is not enough, because what was she doing? What was she doing? Also, what kind of black women? Because if there's anything I've learned from my 29 years of life, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. All skin folk ain't kinfolk. Just because they look like you does not mean they are like you. And that's why you need multiple black people in the room, multiple black men, multiple black women, multiple people of Latina descent, multiple people of Arab descent, if you're going to have these type of people on your cast. Because at the end of the day, it is important to have that representation. How, I know it may not be true now, but I know before there was a 50% by POC rule where in casting, where you had to cast at least 50% of your cast had to be Black Islanders, like Native Islanders, people of color. There had to be like a standard, right? Even of just couldn't just be white and straight. If that's what your cast is going to look like, you need the production and the team around the cast to also look like that. I believe that that is how you create a fair edit. That is how you get across what's actually going on, the dynamics of why maybe Shelly is being more tempered, why she, like, Shelly was saying she cried all the time in the villa. We saw her cry one time, and it was when Alandria was leaving. Why? That's a problem. Why? Anyway, and all encompassing of all of that went on with this show, that we at least were able to catch things we've seen in the back since they've been off the villa, out of the villa and off the island. Nicolandria up. Nicolandria, you're up. Nicolandria, you're up. You're winning. Nicolandria Hive. I thought y'all was delusional. And you know what? I take zero responsibility for that. I put it all on production. Yeah, I said it. I did. Because production, y'all knew what was going on. Y'all left things in here and there. We saw them during the challenges. We saw in the beginning when they kissed each other. But y'all didn't encourage them to tell each other that they have feelings. Instead, you wanted Nick with Sierra and Alandria with Taylor. And then what y'all did, what made it so egregious to me and made it to me like an active choice, was the way that y'all edited Taylor to make it seem like he was never into her. Every Islander has come out. Sorry. Every Islander has come out and been like, oh yeah, we were shocked at Taylor and Clark because, I mean, he was so into Alandria. Now everyone is saying that, but y'all are showing us clips of being like, well, maybe no one ever liked you. I'm not physically attracted to her. You're showing us this, right? You're showing Taylor giving Clark his shirts when it's cold out, but you're not showing that when it comes to Taylor and Alandria. Why? But you're sending Nick and Sierra on dates outside of the villa. Strange. Very strange. However, the Nicolandria Hive, y'all was up. Y'all was on to it, and I will say I publicly apologize, especially because I'm Team Nicolandria now. I am. I'm sorry. It's so buzzy. They're so buzzy from the beginning, seeing the edits, and I'm like, oh, that did happen. Oh, maybe it did happen. But why does it have to be a fan? Fans who are going and finding this stuff. Why didn't the show just show us? But then the Nicolandria Hive got so big, y'all couldn't just ignore it. When these fans are saying something, when his family, his mama, his sister is dang near creators of Nicolandria Hive, that's something you can't ignore. It got so big they could not ignore it. And this is the only time I will say I love the fan service. I love the fan service. When they got eliminated from Casa, they made that beautiful date for them to get together, and you know, they were able to express how, or Nick was able to express how he truly liked her, and X, Y, and Z. So cute, so buzzy, oh, amazing. But regardless of that, that was fan service. Like, let's be real. Because when in the history of Love Island have we ever seen it where somebody gets eliminated in Casa before they even recouple? Everybody gets to come back from Casa. That never happened. It never happened. Never. We've never seen that. This is the first season. Love Island production, you lost the plot. I'm putting this all on you. What did you do to your show? It's weird. It's weird. Anyway, even without all of that, they were trying to service the fans in ways that I guess they felt was needed. Tried to service Huda fans, tried to serve Nicolandria fans, like the biggest fans out there. They tried to service, which is sad because if y'all was trying to service the fans, why did Shalace win? Because like I said earlier, Amaya won that. Amaya and Brian didn't win. No. It was for sure not that. So why didn't Shelly and Ace win? You didn't want Black Love? Because they were the only close talk couple going into the finale. And that's why, even though I enjoyed the fan service with Nicolandria, I could never give them their 10s. You can get an 8 at best. At best. Outside of all of that, thought it was a great season. You know, well, it was not. Outside of all of that, it was cool. It was cool. I have not decided if I'm going to watch again. I think I probably will watch it again just because I have loved the show since before it got super big. I love the show since watching Dagon. What's that girl's name? Zeta and Timmy, even though he was a scammer, and Trina and Cash and Cinco, and what a time, what a time, what a time. Or even KK's crazy self. Soul Ties is crazy. I love the show, right? And I'm rooting for everybody black. I said, and I'm not sorry about it. But I just want it to be better, okay? I want it to be better. I want it to be buzzy. I want to have fun while I'm watching the show. I don't want to be watching the show and be like, when I'm not watching, this is terrible. I'm not having fun, right? The drama was cool, but if I wanted to watch something else, maybe I'd watch like Temptation Island or something. Like, it didn't give Love Island. It really didn't. Like, we could have had so much more fun with a Love Island show. They didn't need to change everything about it. They didn't need to cast these races and do a subpar job of vetting who they're putting on this dang on show. It's sad. It's extremely sad, and it just, I want my show back. I want the show back. So hopefully, and I know it's dusty, dirty, mind your business. I know it's also just mind your business. I'm working with what I have. But yeah, hopefully moving forward, we can get a better, I'm not gonna say season, just a better overall show. Hopefully we can get some less problematic castmates, cast members, and that production gets a little shakeup. I hope production gets a little shakeup, because what they did this season was weird. It was atrocious. It was problematic. It was literally all of the things. All of the things. But I'm gonna go ahead, finish up my makeup, and I'll be right back. Alright, you guys, so I just finished my makeup. Is it perfect? No, but you know what? I'm not going anywhere. I did this just so I can talk to you guys. So I hope you guys like this video. If you like this video, make sure to like this video, comment, share, subscribe if you want to join the family. Like I said, this season of Love Island was so much, very interesting. Look into the dynamics of this world that we're living in today. But if you like this, I am going to make a video about the reunion once it does air. I know that will air August 25th on Peacock. I may have a video out like on the 26th, maybe the 27th, probably the 26th. So we have that coming up. I do know that The Perfect Batch airs the 25th, I believe. So I'm going to watch that and talk about that. That'll be my first season. So like I said, if you like what you're seeing, you want to join the family, you want to get into this conversation, make sure you subscribe. Also, please comment down below what your thoughts are. I love to have that discussion and, you know, kind of build. And if I need to grow up my mind, then I'd love to do that. So help me with that. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.